I know I told y'all this, but I recently took back over most of my video editing for a lot of reasons. But I'm a busy girl, and you are too. You may not be a busy girl, but you know, you're busy something. And editing videos can be the most time-consuming part of this whole like YouTube journey. I went and spoke to my son's middle school class the other day, and one of the boys was like, "What is the part you hate the most?" And he just immediately assumed it was editing because I had talked about how long it took. And I was like, no, I don't hate editing. It just takes a really long time. So I've done videos like this in the past for Final Cut Pro specifically, but I just want to talk about overall things you can do to speed up your editing so that you can edit super fast and stay on like a really good schedule with your content, because if you don't edit fast, you're going to get behind and all the things. I'll be honest, it's really dark outside because it's like rainy, and I don't have any lights set up. I'm just set up in front of a window that's not producing that much light. So if this video looks a little weird, I'm sorry. It's just, you know, we got to do what we got to do sometimes. All right, so first and foremost, I'm gonna need you to create / learn how to use the keyboard shortcuts for whatever program you're editing on. They all have keyboard shortcuts. Every one of these platforms is going to enable you to use a keyboard shortcut to do something that you would normally have to like mouse to the menu and all of that stuff for. And some editing programs will let you even create your own keyboard shortcuts, not all of them, but some of them. So Final Cut Pro definitely does. Adobe Premiere definitely does, but some of the other ones may not. But you can create your own keyboard shortcuts for other things that either you can't remember the keyboard shortcut for, or you need something like even shorter, or that doesn't have a keyboard shortcut created for it yet. For instance, on Final Cut Pro, I regularly have like my A footage, which is this right here where I'm talking or whatever, and then I will have some like screen recording footage or something else that I want to like overlay one or the other on top of. And like when I'm editing that, I don't want to have to just like cut the video of me in a spot, move below it, cut the screen recording in the same spot, etc., because that's like too many clicks. So there is a cut all, so like a cut all of the timeline where my little cursor is, and it'll cut all the clips. And so I program that to be Command X on my keyboard. So when I'm editing, if I line it up and I want to cut all the clips where my thing is, I just hit Command X, it cuts them all. We move on to the next thing. But honestly, you will be amazed with how much time you save just knowing and using the keyboard shortcuts rather than trying to mouse around to everything. And on that same note, use a programmable mouse. Now this video is not sponsored by Logitech because it's sponsored by Motion Array, but this is a Logitech MX3 Master MX3 mouse. I'll link it below. And I was an Apple mouse girl for years. Would not stray away from that pretty little Apple mouse. But when the charging port's on the bottom and you need to use your mouse, it gets really freaking frustrating. So I actually switched to this guy mostly for the charging port, because see there, it's on the side so I can still use it. But the other really cool part about this is that all of the little buttons on here are programmable. So there's buttons here. Like you can click a little button here with your thumb, like down. There's buttons here on the side. I'm gonna try and get it to focus. There we go. There's buttons here on the side, and then these wheels are programmable. This is the programmable button I was just talking about. And then you can even program the wheel up here and the button up here. So get yourself a programmable mouse. Doesn't have to be this one, but I do love this one because I have a lot of commands in regular programs that I use programmed into this mouse. So if I want to cut on a timeline, it's one of these like side buttons on Final Cut Pro. If I want to add a marker, it's this little guy down here. And so a lot of the things that I do on the regular are just programmed into my mouse. So I don't even have to do the keyboard shortcut. That's even shorter of a shortcut than the keyboard shortcut, and it works amazingly well. I have shared this tip before, but we're going to talk about it again, and that is to figure out a way to film with blank spots. So in editing, you know those blank spots need to be cut out, and you don't have to like watch everything for your rough cut. So what I do personally is if I make a mistake, like I just made a mistake a minute ago, I will take a pause immediately after that mistake before I start over and try it again. So if I flub up my words and I'm like, and I went to the, okay. Pause. So I went to the store, and so there will actually be a blank space in the editor, in the timeline where the audio isn't there. So then I can see all of those need to be cut out. I edit from the beginning to the end. So for me, it's just when I get to one, I automatically cut it out and I don't have to like watch through it or anything. But some people edit from back to forwards or just will go through and take out all of those little spots first in order to know that they have like a clean timeline to work with. But either way, it's gonna make your process so much quicker. So find a way to like mark where a mistake happened. So I've seen people say that they clap when they make a mistake and it spikes the audio or whatever, but do something so that you can visually see on your timeline that a mistake happened, because it's gonna make things go so much quicker. You should be saving any regular edits as like a preset or an effect, depending on what system you're using. They call it different things. But if you're constantly using the same settings to color correct, you're constantly using the same settings to correct your audio or add something to the audio, or you're constantly like doing something, you can save it as a preset or an effect, or again, whatever the platform calls it. So for instance, before I started using S-Log footage, which is how I shoot my videos now. I shoot in S-Log, which requires me to like color correct and all of those things. But before I started doing that, I really like to pull up the contrast of the color on my videos. And there would be times when my video was really green or really blue or really orange, based on what was going on outside. And not only did I want to save time for myself, but I also had people on my team sometimes editing my footage and I wanted it to look the way I wanted it to look. So I created multiple like color effects in Final Cut Pro, where one of them was just my standard effect where it brought up the contrast and brought up the saturation a little bit. And then we had one that was, if the footage is too blue, use this one. If the footage is too orange, use this one. If the footage is too green, use this one. And it had adjustments already in it, so I didn't have to like sit and play with it all the time. I have gotten really, really good at color correcting now, but anything that you can do to like save some time, you should do that. And that includes buying people's presets or effects or LUTs or whatever that are gonna help you get the look that you want too, and just using that every time. So because I'm using a Sony camera built into Final Cut Pro, are some LUTs that are specific to Sony's color profiles. So if you're using S-Log footage like I am, you can just use that to bring it back to normal and then play with it from there. But I've also purchased other people's LUTs that help me do that, and I've also purchased LUTs to go on top of my color correction too, which is actually how I get the look that I get in most of my videos. Because if I had to sit here and do that every single time, it would be like a lot of work. So why not? Now remember, there are 6 tips here and we're on number 5. And number 5 is going to be where we talk about today's sponsor, Motion Array. Motion Array is like a marketplace with tons of like video assets, like video templates, stock footage, photos, music, and sound effects, and even motion graphic templates and templates specifically for Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere Pro, and all of that jazz. And Motion Array fits perfectly in here. This is why I incorporated that sponsorship into this video, because it can help you quickly get the look that you want with all of the different assets and footage and templates and things built into the site. So the other day, I did a vlog where I started vlogging on one day and had to finish the vlog on another because I forgot to finish vlogging. And that would have normally been a really like harsh thing for me to be like, oh, it's the next day. So I thought, why not make like a break in the footage where it's like static. So it's the next day. There are so many freaking scenarios where stock footage, templates, presets, and motion graphics could help you take your video to the next level in ways, honestly, that you probably can't even imagine. Want to have your Instagram handle pop up on the screen while you're talking in like a fun animated way? Motion Array. Went hiking and you were vlogging, but you totally forgot to get footage of the scenery and the things around you? Motion Array. Want to spice up your titles when you're talking about different parts in your video like I have done in this video? Motion Array. Or maybe you need music to go along with the epic footage that you got, or either you stock footage from Motion Array for, and you need a song. In other words, Motion Array is the bomb.com for all the things when it comes to editing faster and more efficiently and getting stuff done and making your videos just look that much better. My favorite part is that it is membership based. So you pay for a month, you pay for a year, like whatever, but you get access to all the things. Pay for 1 month, get access to all the things immediately. You don't have to pay extra for each little thing that you download. Like, it's all included. And you can even try for free with access to some awesome free assets to see if it is something that you would like to pay for, right? Yes. Absolutely. I don't normally include the sponsor as a tip of a video, but holy moly, this makes everything so much quicker, so much easier, so much faster when you don't have to create things yourself. You don't have to go out and shoot the footage. You don't have to go out and create the titles or find the music or whatever. It's all in one place. And if you would like to try out Motion Array, head over to heyjessica.com/motion array, or I will obviously link to them in the description below, and try them out and see how awesome your videos will look after you use them. And thank you, Motion Array, for sponsoring this video. And now that brings us to the sixth and final thing. And I saved this one for last on purpose because I feel like this is the one that people just don't think about doing, and you really need to. It's gonna save you so much time. It's gonna be amazing, okay? I want you to create a folder on your computer, okay? A folder somewhere, Dropbox, and I don't care where it is, as long as it can be dragged over into your editor. I don't care where it lives. But create a folder. I name mine Drag Over, and it lives in my editing folder, okay? This folder is going to contain all of the normal assets that you need for a video. So, for instance, for me, I use the poppy noise a lot in my videos. I also use the clicky noise, like if I'm shifting from myself to a screenshot like this. I have an Instagram graphic that I created on Canva that like bounces around, and I use it on the regular. I have sponsors that I work with regularly where I need their logo. And all of these sound effects, these video assets, like all of these things live in this drag over folder. And with every single new project that I create, I drag it over. So when I need to add the pop noise because I wanted to emphasize something that popped across the screen, I don't have to go look for it. It's just there. When I want to switch from myself to a screen recording and I want to use the clicky noise, I don't have to go search for the clicky noise. I just drag it down to the timeline because I already dragged it over. When I want to insert my Instagram handle, or I want to circle something with emphasis, I have all of those graphics already made, and they're just already there because they were in this drag over folder. So go download you some footage or some sound effects or some songs or whatever that you're going to use on the regular from Motion Array, and then put them in a drag over folder. And every single time you start a new project, just drag that whole folder over. You may or may not use everything in it every time, but now it's there and you don't have to go hunt and peck for it when you need it. There are probably 10,000 other things that I could tell you to do or how to do to save time when editing videos, but these are the 6 most important, and I hope that these will inspire you in some way to like make some changes to your editing process, because God knows it is the thing that takes us all the longest. I totally get that. Like it really is. And if you can hire it out, hire it out. But if you're doing it yourself, which is what most creators are doing, you need to find ways to make sure that it doesn't eat up your entire schedule so you have time to actually create the content and or do other things, you know, besides work. I'd love to know which one of these is your favorite. Like which one were you like, what? Of course I can do that. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. I linked anything I talked about, including Motion Array, in the description below. And until next time, bye y'all.